So, it is Friday, February 27, 2026. And if you are looking at your calendar right now, you probably just see a normal work week ahead.
Yeah, right. Just business as usual.
Exactly. But if you work in the global digital economy, and specifically in education, you are actually walking toward a bit of a cliff edge because we are exactly 9 days out from Sunday, March 8th.
Right, the day the clocks change. Or, well, I guess the day some clocks change,
Yeah.
which is exactly where the trouble starts.
Yeah, and that is why for today's deep dive, we are looking at a functional guide from TutorXcel. It's called the Global Time Shift, and it is essentially a crisis management manual for digital tutors.
It really is. The premise here is that daylight saving time isn't just, losing an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
It's this massive logistical event that completely desynchronizes the global workforce.
Right, and the guide calls this the chaos factor, because we all kind of assume time is standardized now since our phones just update automatically.
Exactly. We completely take it for granted. But on March 8th at 2 a.m., the observance zones, which is most of the U.S. and Canada, they just jump forward to 3:00 a.m.
While the non-observant zones stay exactly where they are.
Right.
And we are talking about massive outsourcing and tutoring hubs here. Places like India, the Philippines, Vietnam, and the UAE.
Yes, and this creates what TutorXcel calls the golden rule of the time shift. Basically, when a student's region springs forward, the time difference between them and a non-observing tutor actually shrinks by 1 hour.
Let's drill down on that math really quick because I know it trips people up. So if I am a tutor in Dubai, my clock does not change at all.
Right, not at all.
But my student in California just jumped an hour ahead.
Yeah.
So to that student, 9:00 a.m. is still just 9:00 a.m.
Yep, exactly. But for you in Dubai, that student now arrives an hour earlier in your local day. So if you usually teach at 6:00 p.m. local time, you basically have to be in your chair at 5:00 p.m. to catch them.
Wow, so you effectively lose an entire hour of your afternoon prep time.
You do, and honestly, that is the easy scenario. The guide highlights a much trickier variable here, which are the delayed zones.
Ah, right, because the UK and Europe don't switch their clocks until March 29.
Exactly. They call this the bridging window. It creates this temporary 3-week anomaly where the U.S. has moved, but Europe hasn't.
Right, so normally London is 5 hours ahead of New York.
Yes, but for these specific 3 weeks, that gap shrinks down to 4 hours. And if you operate on autopilot and just assume the standard 5-hour difference,
You're going to completely miss your session.
it will. You will log in and the student will be long gone.
Which brings us to the core warning of the guide. Automation creates complacency. So they suggest doing a schedule audit by March 5. But I have to ask, why can't we just trust our digital calendars to adjust the time zones for us?
Well, you can usually, but human error really spikes during this shift. Like a student might manually adjust a recurring invite thinking they are being helpful.
Oh, or maybe a third-party booking platform just doesn't sync instantly.
Exactly right. So the advice is to manually verify your appointments for that first week, March 8 through March 15, against a manual world clock. Visualizing the student's reality is key here.
So use a tool like World Time Buddy or the secondary time zone feature in your calendar.
Yes, don't just look at your slot, look at theirs. And then definitely send a time zone check.
Is that literally just a manual confirmation message?
It is. It sounds really low tech. I know, but it is the ultimate failsafe. Just a quick note saying, hey, we are meeting at your 9 a.m., which is now my 5 p.m.
Yeah, it forces both parties to actually acknowledge this shift.
Precisely.
Okay, so beyond the logistics, the guide actually dedicates a whole section to the physiological side of this. They call it the sleep squeeze.
Oh, this part is fascinating. Because if you are that tutor in Asia and your 6:00 a.m. class suddenly becomes a 5:00 a.m. class, that's not just a minor inconvenience.
Right, it's essentially jet lag without actually traveling anywhere.
Exactly, and that leads directly to burnout. So the guide suggests biohacking the transition. They say don't try to absorb the full hour all at once on Sunday.
Start shifting earlier, right?
Yes, starting March 4, shift your bedtime 15 minutes earlier each night leading up to the change.
They also mentioned lighting, specifically using cool white bulbs.
That is crucial for those really early morning starts. Warm light signals relaxation to your brain. So if you are teaching while it's still pitch dark outside, you really need that cool white light to suppress melatonin production.
It basically tricks your brain into alertness.
Exactly. And the last thing is the transition buffer. Just log in 10 minutes early that first week. It gives you some breathing room if the tech or honestly the student is confused.
Which is so important because you really can't be groggy or late when the student is paying for that dedicated engagement. It really comes down to professional reliability.
That is the synthesis of the whole guide. Managing daylight saving time is a competency test. In a global ecosystem, showing up on time when time itself has fundamentally changed shows that you respect those invisible borders of the classroom.
That is such a great point. We always think of time as this universal constant, but in a global digital classroom, time is actually a negotiated agreement between two people. And it makes you wonder, if we could master these temporal shifts, what other invisible borders could we dissolve in education?
Yeah, that is definitely something for you to mull over while you go reset your microwave clock next week.
Very true.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.